Next item is on page 52 and it's titled Snug River and Adventure Bay Flood Studies. There's a recommended motion on page 55. Would anyone like to move it?
I'm happy to move it.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Cordover can. I've spoken too much.
Looking for a second. You could second it, Councillor Midget.
I'll second it.
Great. So, Councillor Cordover.
Thank you very much, Mayor, and thank you so much to the authors and authorisers of this report, or these two reports. What we have before us are both very important, and the purpose being to summarise the results of the two flood risk studies undertaken by the Council, the Snug River Flood Study and the Adventure Bay Flood Study, Captain Cook Creek. Most important is, as a council, we have to recognise our responsibilities and mitigate natural disaster where possible, and moving into a period of unknown times as a result of the exacerbating climate emergency. This comes at a very, very important time. I think the most important thing to recognise from this report is the series of recommendations which come at the end, which really revolve around community engagement and also further forward planning. So I strongly recommend everybody take note of what's contained within the reports, and also that I certainly agree that the time is now to be helping people understand what are the potential consequences of flooding in the municipality, but also to really reinforce the importance of our natural disaster mitigation strategies and of course its consequent resourcing, which will be coming up in our budget deliberations in due course. So the recommendation here is about undertaking community engagement to communicate the results of this study, to further enhance the modelling tools developed for this study, primarily to include local catchment inflows and associated stormwater drainage infrastructure in Snug, to collect flood data, to develop a long-term strategy for the management of flood risk in low-lying areas of Snug, investigate an entrance management plan for the mouth of the Snug River with the aim of minimising the construction that currently exists at the river mouth, and noting that the flood mapping developed for this study will be incorporated into the Kingborough interim planning scheme as a flood overlay for the area, and finally to establish and promote a community education program. So at a time when we're all thinking about the biological crisis that's before us, it behoves us as a council to recognise that we still have an ongoing climate crisis, which will only make matters more complex and more difficult in the future. And so the time for planning that is now. And I personally have been, very upset and very anxious and very concerned about this pandemic crisis. But of course, at the back of my mind always is that if I didn't like this COVID crisis, I'm really not going to like the climate crisis that is still brewing and certainly hasn't gone away during this pandemic. So I want to thank once again the author and the authoriser, and I would like to finish on throwing to the author to see if there's anything that the staff involved in this report would like to highlight for those listening. Thanks, Mayor.